Sucking Bubba's dick, slurping nut like his mother. Going guap, guap, guap on his Arkansas brother. Playing that shit like a saxophone. Presidential topic while they all alone. Don't give a fuck about Hillary. Donald Trump blow it up like a War 3. Trump suck Bill's dick, got his big old belly sick. From the come up Clinton, ton.
Back that dump truck on two.
Back that dump truck on the two, Billy's little face. You're my apprentice now, I'ma put you in your place. Turkey throat, gobbling on that Democratic pole. Going guap, 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 while he's sucking out his soul. Both were on the island and they both deserve the chair. Bubba, please don't pull so hard, you're fucking up my hair. Trump sucked Bill's dick, made his big old belly sick. From the come of Clinton, ton. Got a sack filled with trust.
Well, that is an intro. I tell you what, folks, that was, what's the name of that song?
Bubba Trump.
Bubba Trump, folks. That was Bubba Trump. Welcome to Radical Cruise Podcast, where we dig deep to reach high, and of course, always progress through action. I'm your co-host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval.
And that was exactly how Donald Trump's week has been going. We haven't done a few episodes in a while there, but I mean, yeah. And I think, like Van Lathan said, I choose to believe it. I choose to believe that, if it wasn't Bill Clinton, I choose to believe that he did sloppy toppy someone's oppy poppy named Bubba. I absolutely do believe that. And I think, as Van Lathan said, because the right believes that if there's a black pilot, that there's a reason to be afraid, or there's a reason to believe that they shouldn't be able to have that job. The right believes that Haitians eat cats and dogs. The right believes that there's a child sex ring underneath a pizza parlor that doesn't even have a basement. So I'm going to choose to believe that Donald Trump put chin to balls on somebody named Bubba. And I do believe he swallowed the gravy. And I do believe that it was long. I believe that it was in multiple places.
Yes.
I believe that sometimes it was just a hand job. Sometimes I believe that it was filmed. And I also believe that it was not reciprocal. Bill did not. It was a power move. It was a power blow. So if they're gonna that CRT is happening and there's litter box people are in the, I'm gonna believe that Donald Trump put balls to chin his own. Anyway, folks, welcome to Radical Cruise Pest. Good song. What do you think, Rom, about that track? You said it to me, just so folks know that was Rom's finding. He tried to act all nerdy tech guy. No, Rom. Rom.
You got very detailed with it, but that song it kind of goes, and it's funny. What's the Bubba who they say it's allegedly based on?
Bubba,
what's his name?
It don't matter.
This guy's...
I don't care. I just want to believe. Well, I'm just gonna believe that president blew off a guy named Bubba, and it could be Clinton. But no, man, it's been a while since we've done some episodes. A lot has happened. Of course, we had our last episode. The government reopened, and we got into a bunch of stuff. But before we get into anything, please like, share, and subscribe to Radical Cruise Podcast. This is how we grow this thing. We've been ticking up. Our Instagram is constantly getting new followers daily. So, folks, thank y'all for sharing or liking or engaging. And even if you just leave, I think 5 words on one of our posts, that helps in the algorithm. Same thing on YouTube. So please make sure you're engaging with the chat. Please make sure that you're sending us questions. Please make sure that you're just tuning in for a few minutes. So that's how we grow this thing. But before we get into anything, Rom, our new segment, What Radicalized You? I'm going to start here with what radicalized me, which is people that pay attention to small things. Like, for example, if you go to like a McDonald's and like you get 3 packets of ketchup. No, I'm sorry, I can only give you 2. It's like, why are you playing by those small they gave you? Or maybe small rules people, right? That's what kills me. And my exact experience this past Friday, my son, his stop is at to be picked up from his bus stop, and the time to pick him up is 4:00. I thought it was 4:06. We were behind this like really like huge crane on a truck that was moving super slow. We're going together to pick him up on a Friday. It's Fridays. No, he's out this week for school. It's be night chill. And this truck was so slow. We're like, we're not going to make it. So we pull into where the bus stop is. It is 4:06, 1 minute past 4:05. The bus is pulling out, and she sees me, and I know she's a black lady, so I try to give her grace. But she's a bus driver. Well, bus drivers have kind of an ornery presence. They're like, oh, you kiss it down, kind of have an a-hole predator. But I feel like we've been building rapport. I give her a wave, all this good stuff. So she sees me, and she keeps going. So now I'm pulling right behind her. Me and my wife, we get right behind her. My wife gets out the car because we're like, where are you going with our son? He's the only one left on the bus. She yells at my wife through the door, like, I can't open the door. I have to take him back to the school, which is like a 40-minute commute back to the school, basically. We're like, what? And we're like looking at my son. We're like, open the door, again. So she can't. I can't. So now I'm pissed. So we're both pissed. Like, fucking, she's saying not kind words to her in the car. And our son's like looking out the window, like face on the glass, like mist and falls. Oh, that parents, help me. And so we're following this bus. And my wife pulls up the email, and from the beginning of the school year, that tells you the time the bus should leave. Now, mind you, my son all year, Dad, because I get there like right around 4 o'clock every day, folks. Again, I told you, in my mind, the cop is 4:06. And every time Ethan's the last person on the bus, Ethan's like, Dad, she was giving me some stuff saying, where's your daddy at? Where's your mom at? Where's your parents at? And well, I thought, it's 4:06. So she if it's 4 o'clock when I come here, the cop thinks she should be cool. So we're following this thing. My wife pulls the email list. The official time that bus is supposed to leave that stop is 4:13. So for this whole school year, I've been like, Dad, because I'm getting there at 4:06, feeling late, or 4 o'clock. And she left at 4:00. We looked at the clock, it was 4:06. She had 8 minutes left, or was that math? 7 minutes left. And she left and drove all the way back to the school. So it's that level of like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't give you 2 packets. Well, you're late. And so then we call like the bus dispatch or whatever. The bus dispatch is like, the school was like, hey, get a call. We don't handle it. It's the bus dispatch. We talked to the secretary because the lady who runs it's gone. And she's like, yeah, what I have here is, hold on, I'll put you on hold. What I have here is it's 4:05. And we're like, okay, well, our email says 4:13. The school says 4:13. And you're telling us now there's a new time for 4:05. And she's like, yeah. I was like, well, did you communicate with your parents? And she was like, no. And I'm like, you're just a secretary. So I'm like, this is some Epstein level cover-up shit. Y'all gonna go to this extent. Y'all gonna send a new email out on the Friday before a holiday break to say, hey, the new time is actually 4:05 when she left, even though all the parents were communicated across an entire school program is 4:13. The level of like that radicalized me to say these systems must come down. Yeah,
super radical. Yeah. I'll be quick. I'll be quick.
What pissed you off?
When you check out at the store and they ask you to donate and round up, it grinds my gears because it radicalizes me because they're basically using our money to write off their taxes. So so I'm like, I always say no, even though it seems cruel, because I'd rather just donate directly. So
that's good.
Also,
that's not bad though.
Abuse of capitalism, yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that because also everything isn't worth a tip, right?
Yeah.
Like,
no, the tipping is like crazy.
Yeah, if I place the order and like you guys are like they swing that thing around, it's like, well, you didn't serve me.
They go. It's going to ask you a question, and it's like,
yeah, that's it.
So like for a takeout order, like I generally don't tip unless it's like a restaurant. Right. I know them. There's a Chinese spot by me that I give them tips because they also hook it up. Right, but yeah. But yeah, they're like, it's gonna ask you a question. You mean like
this is my favorite. This is my favorite. Like,
is.
When they're like, hey, it's gonna ask you a question, and then they do this. And then like I know you don't want to look at me while I'm doing this like existential question. Like I get it.
Yeah, you got a blurriness thing going on. I don't know if it looks like that on your end, but
it doesn't.
Somebody must be. Everyone's on PlayStation. You guys are all streaming.
Oh my
I don't know why it's bad
gosh.
quality.
It doesn't look.
Does
It
it
looks
look good
fine.
to you, or
It looks fine
it
to
looks fine to
me.
you?
Oh
Yeah, I think it's
man. Let me turn my
but
camera off for a second. And you go ahead and talk though. Good.
well, yeah. So if you're listening, thanks for listening. Watching, thanks for watching. Please share,
Is this better?
subscribe,
All right.
follow. It's better-ish. It looks like it might try to get better. I don't know if you got other things streaming, but
Yikers.
yeah. So tonight, keep it straightforward, but few things happened this week.
Yeah.
Especially we were kind of in the middle of the action, if you will. So I believe Friday, the Border Patrol left Chicago and they headed to Charlotte in a operation they call Charlotte's Web. That was the big news this week, so we'll definitely dive into that. Trump, Mamdani went to visit Trump at the White House. What a spectacle! I think we're going to touch on Pharrell tonight and some of his comments and kind of talk about it, see what they mean. I know you and I haven't chatted on that. And then Twitter, Elon Muskrat, he enabled a setting to show where people were located, their accounts were located. Turns out DHS, the United States DHS, is operating out of Israel. And about, I think, like they said, 1 to 2/3 of MAGA accounts are all based in another country. So quite interesting stuff going on.
Very much so.
So let's jump right into Charlotte's Web.
We didn't get a chance to really get into that because we missed a few episodes. But basically, by the time we were out, probably because we were out in the streets, fighting back ICE, bare knuckles, throwing Molotov cocktails, slashing tires, and that's me around. We were out there in these streets. So Operation Charlotte's Web descended upon Charlotte. What's his name? Greg Bovino, right?
Greg Bovino. Yeah.
Greg Bovino. Bovino. Also, bovine being the scientific name for cow. So bullshit. Greg Bovino and his CBP agents, which is the more kinetic and violent, corollary to ICE, CBP, which is only supposed to operate within 100 miles of a waterway border. And I don't know if you guys are aware of the geography of Charlotte, North Carolina, but it's way further inland than 150 miles or 100 miles. There was some days of menacing. There was a lot of people afraid. There's a lot of people who were traumatized. A lot of people who were brutalized. People died. People were murdered by ICE. So I'm not trying. There's a lot of back patting going on right now online that I saw. Due to Charlotte's pushback of ICE. I think a little bit of this stuff is a little bit preemptive, dare I say. And the people that were out there were the younger people, more people of color. But there was those 1 or 2 situations. I don't know if we have to talk about this. There was that old lady who was getting her Christmas lights hung, and ICE, CBP, who Nazis pulled up on her, gentleman who's hanging her Christmas lights on her bush, and she pulled that thing out, called it her peacekeeper, her peacekeeping gun, and put that thing right in their face, and they peeled off from a 70-year-old lady. These are not the best people. Trump is very big on, they're bringing crime, they're bringing rape, they're murderers. Oh, our friend Asha. Yes. So do you see that story there with the old lady?
Yeah, I did see that, and I think that was like first thing that happened this week. One thing, and I think, definitely Charlotte. I think last week, I don't remember our last episode was. It was like I think right before.
It was before.
Right, it was like the Thursday before they were coming in.
Yep.
And I think Charlotte started organizing that week. Before they came in. So a lot of the organizations started connecting. And ultimately there was a lot of communications primarily in Charlotte. I think there was obviously there was resistance, and expanded into Union County coordinating. People were out looking out for ICE, looking out for CBP, communicating where they were, and just, getting in the way, recording. They were, the one, like you said, that one woman came out the house, like, what do you, like, the guy's putting up Christmas lights, and, she comes out and she has them drive off basically. But they kept getting these, they keep going to these places like grocery stores and just random, corners where somebody's putting up lights, and, just places where people are working. They're not going to houses looking for criminals serving warrants. They're just, to me, looks like they're just playing whack-a-mole.
Yep.
I think they said less than, like in Chicago, was less than 5% actually had criminal records. Here was less than 30%, and I don't actually have the final number. But they're just basically going around terrorizing, and some of them ended up with their tires slashed. They also ended up in a pursuit. I don't know if you saw that video where they were driving across the roads through the grass, basically hyped up, saying this is fun.
Oh yes, I did see that one. Yes,
they were chasing a car, saying they were ready to shoot the man, shoot the person, and talking about crossfire. So it's really just bringing chaos to the city, and it's unfortunate because they're bringing what comes with it is racial profiling.
I mean, it is the whole thing is racial profiling, and
they're targeting brown people, they're targeting people who look like they may be Latino, and they apprehended a black man, and it's just instilling fear that's unnecessary. My wife is half black, half white. She's with my daughter, who's also Mexican, and she sees a dark truck with with tents and people looking out the window, and she told me, she's just like, I unexpectedly was like scared. It like made me pause, and my heart was beating, and it's just, that's how people feel. It's not like she has a record, right? It's not like she's as they want to say, illegal, right? She's just a brown person, right? And all these people say like, oh, well, you're in the country illegally, and it's, imagine if you've been in this country and you're trying to do things the right way, you're working, you have your social security or ITIN number, you have a job, you're paying taxes, you're contributing to the economy, you're a law-abiding citizen, or you're a law-abiding whatever the status may be, you go into court and you're actually trying to show up and get asylum or get your citizenship. And then all of a sudden there's a new administration and they just say, well, all that's out the window. Even if you are doing the right thing, we're going to go pick you up at the courthouse. These are if they're criminals, why are they at the courthouse checking in with the immigration judge, right? If these are criminals, why are they picking them up at work, right? And so,
as I say, if they're criminals or if they're looking for criminals, go to the jails, go to the prisons where the people are convicted of crimes, So
the people, and especially these Christians, that say, oh, well, you should come in legally, or, you're a criminal because you're undocumented. First off, like it's a misdemeanor. It's not even a felony. One, two, you're talking about tearing families apart who literally just living here and just making a life for themselves. And not doing anything wrong, but you're cheering them on as families are torn apart. And then once they get apprehended, they end up in these detention centers, if you want to call them that are like hellholes. They're overstuffing them, putting 20 people into a cell. They're sleeping on floors. You see families sleeping on floors. You're not getting them fed. You're not giving them a toilet. You're not letting them take showers. And this is just regular people, right? So, and even if there were criminals, is that a way that you should be treating criminals?
Exactly.
So it's less than humane, and you have people cheering it on, and I think the racists are loud on the internet, but there's a lot of them in Charlotte. I think that was a wake up call for a lot of folks of like, dang, like a lot of these people are actually racist. So.
No, first of all, I'm so sorry that your family, your wife and children had to go through that, because that is It's traumatizing.
And that's just, and that's just the least of what people had to go through this
No,
week.
but yeah, I'm with you on that. I agree. But
yeah,
also, like,
yeah.
as we talk about systemic violence, we have to destigmatize and divorce like what trauma is from what our perceived notion of it is, right? Like your daughter seeing how her mother, the person who's supposed to protect her, shaking like a leaf in a car, right? Or daddy not being able to protect me. That does something to the mind. And this is something when I hear from people that are not melanated who feel that they have I too am, I'm queer, I'm a woman, I'm this. It's like, listen, this is a white supremacist system. At the end of the day, before you're any of that stuff, before you're disabled, before you are queer, before you are trans, before you are a woman, you're white, or believe yourself to be white. This country was built in your image. Is that you don't have that same fear that we do, right? And there is a certain level of instability that comes to a lot of people in this country that really wears on not just the mind but also the body, right? This high levels of stress, high levels of cortisol and adrenaline, and all these different hormones in the body from being stressed out, causing ulcers, headaches, hypertension, blood pressure rising. When people talk about epigenetic violence, this is what this is, and this is how it starts. And unfortunately, when people want to try to tell us, oh, it's not that bad, or just have your papers. I mean, I even seen someone on one of the pages that we both follow locally say something like, we have to make sure our friends have their papers. It's like, you're already ceding ground to this bullshit. Like,
Right.
you don't have to have what if this was Nazi Germany. We got to tell our Jewish friends, make sure they're wearing their Stars of David. Like, wake up. And they would rather do all that bullshit than talk to their Uncle Jerry, who empowers this shit. Because it's not just those loser ass because a lot of these ICE agents, a lot of these CBP agents, they're not the top of they're not the best of the best, as Donald Trump likes to say. These are police academy washouts. These are military washouts. They couldn't pass the ASVAB with a high enough score. They couldn't make it to the Army or the Marines. They couldn't make it to become a security guard at the mall. And ICE was like, look, if you can hold a pen and have a heartbeat, you're in. And now we have all these guys, just like that video we're talking about, chasing these people. I gotta ram them. But we got these brand new vehicles. Word to Charlotte, Hendrick Honda. So if you're
Hendrick Automotive, they are one of the largest. I think they're their largest auto dealership in the South. So if you're listening, boycott. But
if you're planning on buying one, do not. I wouldn't say maybe get it repossessed, but you get my point. Like, do not go there. So we have to understand these are systems, and everything I just explained from Donald Trump, who is again not necessarily he's the spearhead of all this, but it's a system, right? There's a financial interest, and as someone who always goes back into how all these things tie into slavery, we have to remember when slavery ended, that's when we got basically the prison industrial complex, where they had to make, we know about the 13th Amendment, that slavery is illegal unless you commit a crime. Then they start making things illegal to commit crime. They start raising criminality, like vagrancy, if you didn't have a job. Or this is why we have things like, getting an abortion is now a criminal offense. This is why, being homeless is now a criminal offense. All of these things are interspersed with the same sort of a mentality post-slavery. And we've been trying to tell people that for hundreds of years. This system hasn't changed. The snake has just shed its skin. And people were like, no, stop it. Race card. You guys are just... And it's like, no, guys, this is the same thing. And it's not just Black people who are enslaved. It's also been our Native and Latino brothers and sisters over the centuries. There's a certain reason they're leaving it for Black people, so we only associate criminality with Black people, but in reality, it's also our Latino brothers and sisters. It is also our indigenous brothers and sisters. And these slave catchers, and we're gonna play this video here in a second, but these slave catchers, think about that in your mind. Think about what you think, what a slave catcher would sound like, what a slave catcher would do, and watch this clip.
U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of North Carolina
This is the
says
short
the
one,
chase began when
but
24-year-old
it's like a 3 minute. It's like a 3 minute video.
Martinez drove away in a van after federal agents approached him.
This is great. This is fun.
In a post on X, the Department of Homeland Security said the driver is a U.S. citizen. Federal agents can then be seen trying to stop Martinez by ramming into his van, but missed.
I'm gonna smash my car.
Whoa! According to the news release, Martinez had been driving erratically, allegedly ramming the van into another government vehicle with 4 officers.
Somebody asked, who is Bovino?
I too would be driving erratically if someone was chasing me in a unmarked vehicle with lights with their faces covered. I too would. This is how the media curtails it, right? But yeah, Greg Bovino, like bovine, like bullshit, is the director or leader of the CBP.
Customs and Border Patrol. Yeah, this is his
dressing in his best Nazi garb. Which again, Nazis ironically based their uniforms off the Rhode Island highway patrol. If y'all
he did a whole photo shoot. In what
he couldn't even get the guy out the shot though. The random person in the mirror there, like in that elevator. Go back to the other picture. Like, dude, that's not even a good shot. Like he's like, oh, he got the Birdman hand rub. Oh, I got these niggas. Oh, I'm gonna get y'all. It's bam, got him. With his Nazi haircut, master race. Anyway, these people, and he's from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, he is from North Carolina. And to your point, about I think there is a lot of backpatting for lack of a better term. I do think that there was a lot of mobilization and coordination and organizing. I know Chicago got on some of these calls, people from Chicago, to try to help Charlotte organize. And I think this past week probably needs to be thought of more as practice, to be honest.
It ain't over.
I just got word that there's still drones flying around. They've been drones flying around in the Union County area, in the Charlotte area, surveilling. So the idea that they're I don't know if they're going to come back or not. I mean, they're still in the area, period, right? So, just stay on your toes, and I think the businesses are affected greatly as people are afraid to do their normal routines, whether it's afraid of being, profiled for simply being brown, whether it's because they have undocumented status and whatever status it may be. And it just, it doesn't make sense, right? Like they're not going to the store. They're not going to, the restaurants, right? They're not living just a normal life because there's this fear, unnecessary fear of this law enforcement agency, this KKK in mask, or this Gestapo that's just going to come and grip you up, and you don't know where you're going to end up, right? It's not that you're going to go and get your due process and talk to a judge. That's not promised to you. Mm-mm. It's not that you're going to be detained and give your story and show your paper, like you said, show your papers. It's a fear of like you might end up in another country that you don't even know. You might end up lost. You might never see your family again.
Like the 3,000 people they lost out of Alligator
Alcatraz. That's rolling the dice, and I know and I think it's absolutely bullshit that people have to carry around their papers because you ask, well, do you carry your papers?
Thank you,
Mayor Burns. Do you carry your papers? Because
him. But also,
well, a lot of people. Like, I know what you're saying. Right. Like, liberals too. But and
the people calling in
this idea that you're this Christian. You're a Christian who is supposed to welcome, foreigners, immigrants, but you're a Christian white nationalist first, right? So you're a nationalist. So if they're not American, if they're not white, then they don't qualify for your Christian love, do they? Because Jesus was an American. He was draped in the flag.
Right.
He was born. He was born at the Statue of Liberty, right? Mm-hmm. So
in 1776.
So these people I think it exposes a lot of people, and whether it's your neighbor, your coworker, or whomever, is crazy.
Yeah, I think we need to keep our head on a swivel because as you said, Rom, like it ain't over. It's far from over. And again, the one thing that was really causing me some consternation is believing that people believe that this is over. There's a lot of like high-fiving and popping the champagne and look what Charlotte did. And even some of the national pages that I follow and respect are pretty leftist are like, Charlotte did it. And I'm like, ask a Latino person if they feel like it's over.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this week, but the students, the young kids, they showed up. Whether it was a protest, there was about 30. I think it said like 30,000 kids out of CMS this week
walked out.
Or, whether it was protest, whether it was fear of their family. I mean, they literally used the kids to get some of these parents, right? So it's crazy. But yes, they walked out. Several walkouts across Charlotte. Several walkouts across Union County, Monroe High School. Piedmont, all over the place, right? And they had a march on Friday at noon. They went and had a protest in the evening at 5 or 6 o'clock. They were out into the evening. Same in Charlotte. Charlotte was out till 10, 11. They kind of had protests and rallies. Spur of the moment, you know what I mean? Like kind of when we talk about like when it was like Black Lives Matter, like just go out into the streets and show up and be heard, be present, be a disruptor, inconvenience some folks, make them inconvenience, right? And so it wasn't like all these time boxed, hey, we're gonna go protest from like 10 to 12 and pack it up. And I think that's I really do respect that. And these signs of unity, you have Mexican flags out there, you got Honduran flags, Guatemalan, and all kinds of Latin American flags, and that's this type of solidarity that we need. And you see Black folks out there, you see white folks out there, and we need more of that. And we said is we really need the white folks to kind of like step up, continue to step up for the ones that are, and then for the ones that aren't, it's time to get some skin in the game. There's a couple white women that they were in front of the car at DHS and got arrested, and more of that. Somebody slashed tires. I mean, like
someone slashed tires while they were sleeping. So that's been the move I've been advocating for. I'm like, look, it's nonviolent. Hell, we pay for them tires. Those are our tax dollars, so we can choose how y'all use them. But yeah, no, it was a beautiful thing, people coming together, and we talk about solidarity across cultures, across ethnicities. That's what we're talking about. But at the end of the day, as I'm going to keep saying it on every episode, until white people start to care. And when I say care, I mean like put some skin in the game. Nothing is going to change, unfortunately. We're going into Thanksgiving this Thursday coming up. And there's still going to be a lot of quote as my mother, who is not as politically dialed in as I am. She's like, hey Ron, the test is going to be Thanksgiving. Their first test after Trump's been back in. It's been what, 10, 11 months. Their first test is going to be Thanksgiving. If you invite them over, if you don't invite them over, if you create a barrier when they're over there, you're going to keep it real. That's honestly where it's going to be at. So again, all of us who reject this because we're under the heel of it and we understand it, it's in our bones, our DNA, on our telomeres. We already, again, we can't find nobody who's like this. But these folks, it's time for y'all to step up. So we're gonna keep an eye on this. And Operation Charles Web, I guess, is officially over. And last thing I'll say about it is that the sheriff of Mecklenburg County, what's his name? Milk Deadhead Negro. I can't stand him. He's corrupt. He's as wrong as two left shoes. What's his name?
Gary McFadden.
That's it. Just a goofy Gary McGoofball. Gary Sheriff. So what happened was it Wednesday night? He had posted something that was like, Operation Charles Webb is over. Corrupt as the day is long, and immediately DHS, or not immediately, maybe about 2 hours later, like they let that simmer, and all the people were like, yeah, we did it, it's over. The sheriff who's corrupt said it's over. The sheriff who's an op said it's over. The sheriff who takes glee and joy in locking up his own people on BS charges, said it's over. And then 2 hours later, DHS was like, we're still going to have operations in Charlotte. Don't get it.
Yeah. But, I think that they did get caught up in I think ICE wasn't expecting the pushback they got. I think they did get caught up in Charlotte's Web, and some people will say it's the hornet's nest. I think next time they come, I think we need to go harder.
I think too the terrain is different than like a more dense city like in Chicago or New York. Like there's a lot of like rural land that you have to like traverse. Because remember, there's some people they're getting chased into the woods. Some of these people, right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. They were in the woods with it absolutely is a different terrain. Chicago's denser. Chicago, you can go outside and it's like the neighborhoods are very close here. Even when I was out, like it takes. I mean, like the blocks are long. You realize it, and it's like, I was at the grocery store. I went to the grocery store. I went to Compare Foods, Latino grocery store up on the east side, and I went shopping and kind of hung around for a little bit. About 30 minutes after I left, I take him off. I'm sorry. Take him off the screen. But yeah. Sorry. They were about 30 minutes after. They were sure enough. They were there.
ICE.
Yeah, they're CBP, Customs and Border Patrol. So it just takes longer to get across to get different places in the city, and they were spread out too. So their strategy.
Go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say their strategy seems to be like they were in different parts of the city, kind of spread out, and just trying to, I think,
and to piggyback off that, and I think what they didn't consider is that like it drains you. Just you going to the east side or going to Charlotte from Waxhaw, North Carolina, that's 2 hours out of my day. Like I'm exhausted. Like so, imagine you get just the driving aspect, and those guys. This is fun. Their adrenaline's going. By the time that moment was over, you still got 6 more hours left on the shift. You're like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this, man. This is a lot.
But I will say, what I will, hope to see and see if I can help people figure out is how we can communicate in ways that are regional. So there's multiple channels for each region, so it's a little bit easier to kind of keep track of, because it's a lot. It's like all over. It's like, oh, Union County, they're in Charlotte. It's a lot going on. So
yeah.
But yeah, just again, keep your head on the swivel.
Just keep it on the swivel, guys.
So we got
what happened?
We got something. Got something here.
Ooh, oh my gosh. So folks, if you hadn't heard of last week's in office, dare I say softcore pornography in a one way, Zohran Mamdani, mayor-elect of New York City, went to go meet with the Mango Mussolini himself, Donald Jackass Trump, in the Oval Office. And prior to this meeting, and this is a meeting that Mamdani, mayor-elect Mamdani, asked for. So let's just be very clear about that too. And we can talk about the backlash from the left and the right and how that all situates itself. But prior to him going down there, the right, oh my God, Donald Trump is going to show this socialist. What dare I say? Was it Fox News? They had a graphic that said capitalism versus socialism, and Fox News, Donald Trump's going to eat him to pieces. He's going to chew him up. He's going to stick his foot up his ass. Yeah, I'm like, Bubba Sucker is going to get Mamdani, one of the most talented politicians we've seen since Obama in 2004 at the DNC. Is that what you're saying? That's the person? So yeah, everybody, whether it be Caroline Levitt, prior to him coming down, she was at the podium, and Zohran Mamdani will kneel before the emperor with her giant cross burning into her chest. And then you had, Stephen Miller, this Muslim jihadist is going to go down. You got what's his name? Kimberly Guilfoyle, the worst to ever come. And it was just terrible all the way around. Folks were just expecting the sky to fall. They're expecting him to Allahu Akbar and get a bit and blow up the White House.
I think, and the most pathetic was the Democrats. The Jeffries and the Schumers.
Prior to,
their milquetoast endorsements or lack thereof, right?
I think today Chuck Schumer just endorsed Zohran Mamdani.
I mean, what? Oh, because Trump did. Because Trump did. Like,
I think it's today.
So you remember? Do you remember
the mayor's
when?
Race?
You remember when Trump dog walked Jeffries and Schumer's inside of his office put the hat in front of them?
Yes, in the mustache.
Had them kind of bowing over and caving in, and it talked about how they
they never do that to Mamdani.
Let me actually pull that one up.
Yeah, classic.
Because if you recall, they kind of he put a hat in there for Trump 20. He put a hat on the table. He's sitting there looking at him and
pointing at him.
I'm sure.
Yeah, mom's a hoe. Basically,
and Schumer kind of bowing down, buckling, which Trump loves. Trump loves to, make him grovel. That's why he loves the Ted Cruz's and that's why he hates MTG right now. I always said, like, Trump, the one thing that Trump does is he stands on kind of his bit, like what he believes in. No matter,
but he has no beliefs.
He's got his white supremacist beliefs, his racist beliefs, his the ones that. But he's got a lot of. He doesn't have any policies.
Policies, right?
He it's just because what was interesting in this conversation they had was like, he's like, oh, they said it like on Fox. This doesn't seem like the Mamdani like that I hear about on Fox. I mean,
oh my God.
But what they also say is that he, the conversation that he has most recently is like the one that that sticks out.
Look at this picture of Mike Johnson and Chuck Schumer. Chuckles. Look at Chuckles and Mike Johnson. Look at MAGA grinder Mike Johnson there.
Yeah, my computer's gonna freeze on me. But I'm trying to pull up the one with the here. I gotta pull up this story if you'll let me. Oh, okay, I gotta close a window or something. It's not
the like point is though, this was ultimately, at the end of the day, it was night and day from the way a Chuck Schumer was received, a Hakeem Jeffries was received, and a Zohran Mamdani was received. And I think the reason is because Trump is transactional. Trump is transactional. And one thing we know about Trump, Mr. Host of The Apprentice, is that he likes to be around people who have a lot of clout, who have a lot of social capital, and who are famous. And Zohran Mamdani has...
And he also who stands on business, like who actually like doesn't really like start buck. Like if you like Mamdani went in there, he probably said, "Yeah, I actually think you're a fascist." I mean, he said it on camera. He said, "You could say it." I mean, like that's the thing that I think the Democrats are missing. Right? They feel like they need to give in, buckle into the center. They need to be.
Well, they're still trying to appeal to this suburban Republican voter. That's just the party's still doing.
Yeah, and they're so oh well, you got to we got to give this up. We got to just let trans people be called not inhuman, and we got to give up. We got to sacrifice this. Like
we got the strongest border bill. Remember Kamala Harris said that at the DNC.
Carrier papers, like we got to win. Like it's like, and here's this man. He goes in there. He says, "Look, this is what I'm about." Says the same platform. He says like, "Hey, I actually think you're a fascist. Here's why." I mean, look, we've been saying this for a while. It's like Zohran Mamdani said is a kind of a masterclass at being a politician, and not in the sense of like, being this like a Jeffries is like this kind of slimy politician that just kind of says whatever, kind of walks a line and doesn't really believe in anything. Whereas Mamdani, he speaks clearly to what he says, but he also understands how not to, things like how to get in an argument back and forth. He understands how to focus on the root cause of issues when he's having these conversations. He understands how to mirror and throw these things back. And he's just, I think there's a lot to learn from him. I mean, for anybody that's running for office, but especially Democrats, but it's been so shameful that these Democrats that I got on the screen, for example, these 86, like okay, you condemn socialism. Like, what is social? Like, first off, what is this vote about? Like, what does this actually do for the American people? And it's like, this is the same day Mamdani's going to visit Trump, and here's these Democrats, including Hakeem Jeffries, that are voting to condemn socialism. Well, what is socialism? Because how do you even define it? Because like, we have socialist systems in our country, right? And so, Mamdani is a democratic socialist, which has different meanings than socialism. But like, what do you think the purpose of that was?
I mean, this is again them trying to genuflect to the right, that we're safe Democrats, which again we've talked about on this show multiple times, that they are in opposition. They are in a captured opposition. Never enough votes to pass through anything progressive to reform the systems, but always just enough votes to aid the fascist side with getting through their agenda. That is exactly what the Democratic Party establishment is at the federal, local, and state level. They are not for ultimately changing these structures. And someone like Zohran Mamdani, honestly, again, he's not as socialist as these people believe it, because we've been so propagandized to believe that. I mean, these folks like Robert Burns out there, who was they hate these people, right? And people who were of his ilk. They've been so propagandized to hate socialism and communism and Marxism but they're not afraid of a dictator, and they embrace authoritarianism. This is the problem with our civic system, and that people just don't know. And this is one thing for me, when I saw that vote, the 86 Democrats vote with Republicans to condemn socialism in wake of Mamdani's mayoral victory. You don't have a singular candidate within the Democratic Party that has as much juice, riz, as the young kids say, aura, swagged up, whatever you want to call it, again, juice, that's what we used to call it, as Zohran Mamdani. He's an attractive guy. He's smart. He has good energy. He's really good on the social medias, as Chuck Schumer says, and his policies are solid. These are things that no one in the Democratic, you can't throw a rock inside of Congress and hit somebody. You can't take a rock and throw it at some of these candidates and find someone that can do that. No one. Graham Plattner, the closest we had, who's running in Maine against Susan Collins, until his Nazi tattoo, was maybe the closest. And now he's kind of had cold water thrown on his thing with his Nazi tattoo. So this is very endemic of a broken party that is beholden to donors and corporate interest, that is not actively interested in trying to represent the people, but rather represent corporate interests, which is one thing Zohran Mamdani did not do. And this is why we need to have, honestly, nationalized matching funds, which is the reason Zohran Mamdani was able to run a race like this against all the big money, because New York City does have matching funds, which is really good during the primaries. So, we need to have that nationalized.
Yeah. One thing I do want to touch on that it's related to this to me, because I'll give Slotkin, Alyssa Slotkin, as an example, that centrist, that kind of trying to appeal to the middle. Where did that get her? Because I call
her the galactic senator. She's dressed like somebody who's on one of those space galactic senator.
I mean, now you pretty much have gotten I would call it a death threat from the president himself, but now you have the entire mega cult coming after her and these other senators and House members who basically said, you follow the Constitution, you do not have to follow illegal orders. And then Trump basically turned around and said, well, that's sedition, which is punishable by death. I mean, so that's where it gets you. I think it doesn't it doesn't make sense to me that these people are, chasing the middle, chasing Trump's respect. I don't know. It's
no. And I think that vote is fun. It's like, why would Congress have this? We're going to denounce the horrors of socialism bill, saying that socialism leads to totalitarian rule and brutal dictatorships. Meanwhile, as if capitalism didn't produce Donald Trump, ICE raids, and the military occupation of Chicago and Charlotte. The propaganda of it all is insane. And that's why I'm But anyway, but the meeting, let's get back to the meeting just to kind of get back on track here to get the last two things. But yeah, the meeting ended up, we got on the back end was what none of us expected. It was again, this guy Mamdani can't do no wrong, unfortunately. So there's a press spray after the meeting, which is basically all of these right-wing, hand-selected press reporter inside the Oval Office trying to throw gotchas at Mamdani. And one thing we know about Mamdani is that he is so good at being on message, and he will bring everything back to affordability in New York City. You don't have to be from New York City to know the 4 things, or I think it's 5 things that he stands for: free and fast and free buses, free childcare, community-run grocery stores, and freeze the rent. Right? Like I don't. He's not my mayor, but I know that's what he stands. I don't know what my mayor stands for. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what the closest big city by Lyles in Charlotte stands for, but I know what the mayor, and that is a testament to his skill set, right? That he was able to stay on message. So he gets thrown a bunch of these crazy questions, and he stood on business. And there's a clip you're gonna go to.
Yeah, let's see if we got it.
Okay.
Well, let me get the volume going here. Can't hear it.
You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate
Trump's face.
about the president is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. And he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
I mean,
that was one of them. Where if you guys can
one of
hear, where they say you called him a despot and blah blah blah, and Trump, I've been called worse, but Mamdani again, message discipline like I've never seen before. I mean, honestly, the only person I've ever seen have that much message discipline is Donald Trump. And I'm talking about the 2016 version that had a little bit more pep in the step. It was build the wall, drain the swamp. I mean, that's what he was pounding those things, lock her up. He was on this. Those were his 3 things, right? Build the swamp, lock her up, drain the swamp.
Yeah. This is the other one, real quick.
This is the other.
Your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump
Look at
is
his face.
fascist?
I've spoken about.
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Oh, look.
Yes, if you guys couldn't hear, I mean, it wasn't like yes, this motherfucker's a fascist, but it was a yes. It was a yes. None.
It was clear that it was talked about, right in their private conversation. Like that's what I.
I don't know if it was talked about or not. I know one
I feel
thing.
like it was.
He did say yes right there. So
Yeah.
I mean, and I haven't heard anybody
Yeah.
at all in front of Donald Trump say yes that he's a fascist to his face.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and I don't know if I would call it a victory lap or anything, but it's only a matter of time before Trump is back to his
No question.
calling Mamdani, some jihadist or Ugandan or something crazy, right? Like, so but you still don't, yeah, exactly in that moment, but that's still like he dismantled them. I mean, he dismantled them. He corralled them.
And I think what I was saying earlier is like, Trump is transactional. He cares about people that have the highest political clout, the most power, who are just charismatic. Don't forget, this was the host of The Apprentice. This was the host of Miss Teen USA. This was someone who was in hip hop videos. This was someone who was in Home Alone 2. This is someone who is dare I say, a pro forma celebrity, and he seeks that out. Now, I think what this also does show, because we don't have time to play the whole thing because it's 20 minutes or something like that. But Trump was like, we actually agree on a lot of different things. We agree on a lot of different policy things. And when he said that, what that was a glass shattering moment to me was that he is clearly influenced by people who are around him, right? So if you put a bunch of Mamdanis around him, we would have got Medicare for all, you know what I mean? But around him, you have a Stephen Miller, you have a Pete Hegseth, you have a the JD Vance, you have a Peter Thiel, you have an Elon Musk. I mean, he is tofu. If you guys know anything about tofu, whatever you put tofu in, it'll taste like that, right? And that's him. So he got next to Mamdani, who look, standing next to the dude's aura, I could feel the aura. He didn't flinch. He was like. He wasn't smiling. He was, his bright eye smile that we know Mamdani for. He smiles so hard that it hurts. He was chill. Like, look, I'm here for a reason. So his aura was up there. His swag was up there. Now, I do want to talk about it on the left. I do want to talk about how the left respond and how I'm seeing people on the left respond. How dare Mamdani go up there? We knew two wings of the same bird. We knew he wasn't going to be all that. We knew that he's a sellout and a traitor. He's up here yucking it up with Trump. That's bullshit. But what do you think about that?
Yeah. I haven't even, to be honest, I haven't come across it yet.
I mean, I'm just saying.
I know what they said. They're like, oh, that's kind of what they were hoping for, what Trump was hoping for. But I mean, you can these are my far left brethren. These are my far left. You can see what the Laura Loomers are the ones that are losing their mind, and some of the racist, the fervent racist on the right. But in front of the liberals, I mean. I think if you're going to go and if you're going to go, and I think the best thing you can do is not sit there and bend the knee and cower and, lose your principles and, suck up and kind of change up your tune. And I think he was cordial. He went in with, who knows? I mean, if he started disrespecting him like he disrespected the Ukrainian president, I think it would have been a different story. But he did what he needed to do, and honestly, I haven't seen no Democrat do that.
Oh no, I mean, I got it on some of the posts I have now. It's couched in kind of like, Payron, you're pretty progressive. What do you think? So I mean, just to give you an example, this was on one of my posts. This is a white liberal, views themselves as progressive. She said, how do you feel about Mamdani working with Trump? And I said, working with Trump and working through Trump are two different things. He didn't say flowery things about Trump the way Trump did about him, right? And then I kind of give her the context, because as I get it, middle-aged white woman doesn't understand how we have to be in this world. I said, Black people and people of color have had to work with racist white people every single day of our lives, whether it be a teacher, a boss, a coworker, a neighbor, a policeman, a firefighter, a lawyer, a judge, Democrats, Republicans, or someone who's coming to your house to service your house, which has happened to us. We were like, this motherfucker racist. He wants to come clean our gutters. This motherfucker racist is looking at us and how y'all afford this house. And I said, the framing of your question also supposes that Trump is racism, when in reality he's just kind of a chewed up amalgamation of what racism is. Right. And in everyday life, in a white supremacist settler colonial project known as the United States, we've been having to work through that every single day. So when I see Mamdani do that, that's like working with a boss that we got to be like, this motherfucker racist. Right. I know this motherfucker racist. Exactly.
So yeah. So should we talk about Pharrell a little bit?
Yeah, for real. Oh, so Pharrell was at some Black conference. I don't know what it was.
I got the clip if you want to roll the clip first.
Yeah, let's just do it. But it's for real from the Neptunes. Why did I get that picture of him?
The current political climate, I'm just saying I don't want to turn anybody off. I hate politics. Despise them. It's a magic trick that it's not real. I don't believe in either side, because I think when you pick a side, you are only you are inadvertently supporting division. Yeah, it's not a popular point of view, but I just got to say, think about it. The wells are drying up, and now the diversity's off the table, now equity's off the table, now inclusion's off the table. So that makes me ask myself, okay, so how do we survive? Well, are there Black people here for that tonight? Yeah. And in your heart, do you think for what it is that you do and who you are, do you think you're the best? Okay, so do you want the job because you're black or because you're the best? Do you want someone to support your startup because you're black or because you're the best? Right, so I think now for me it's about us having the best ambition. That's the reason why you should support these businesses. Yes, they happen to be black and brown, but it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. That's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on, and if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best because I can bank on that, because that's what's going to get you the position. Where, I don't want you to give me anything. I want you to panic and not let me out the room because I'm the best.
Yeah. So, I've only, to be fair, I've only seen that clip. I haven't seen like the whole segments. I don't know what he said. So
that was what he kind of heat for right there.
I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you what I agree with is that I want to be the best, and here's when you say statements like in the way that you say it, I feel like you're basically saying, you're implying or giving credence to the idea that DEI is allowing people who aren't the best to get into places where they don't belong. I want to support businesses because they're both the best, and they're black, and they're brown, and they're minority, and they're LGBTQ or whatever it may be. That's and also like I want to support a business because they support me. Right. And so and we've talked about this quite a bit on the show. Is like when DEI goes away. My opinion is that the ideals and what actually happens is it still continues in a lot of ways because one, black people continue to exist, women continue to exist, minorities continue to exist. Like we don't just disappear because DEI is gone. I talk about it all the time. I go to these conferences because cybersecurity, AI, we talk about different type diversity, ethics, bias. We celebrate women in these places. We celebrate black, all the kinds of minorities. So it never really went away. In terms of but I think that it should. Do I think that should justify it going away? No. But do I think it will continue? Yes. But the big problem I have with, I think what he said as well, the other big problem is that he says, picking a side is division. And so
I don't do politics, he said.
My question is well, pick what side. Are you talking about Democrat and Republican? Or are you talking about,
I think so.
Are you talking about good versus evil? Are you talking about conservative versus liberal, progressive? And I think that's not even a thing. That's just it's just it's like having no principles on anything, right? Are you talking about humanity versus you talking about angels versus devils? I don't know what it means to to not pick a side. I don't think you have to be a fervent Democrat or are you the Democrat? Are you a Democrat till the day you die?
My Democrat hat,
but you have blue blood. No, but it's means to an end, and it's this realistic system. This aligns to the closest thing. Now, are we ready to shake shit up a little bit more? Yeah, we have. I wouldn't say we picked a side from a Democrat versus Republican, but it's kind of crazy to me. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. So his first comment was that I don't do politics, and it's magical thinking and things of that nature. Now, this was very fucking stupid. This was a very fucking stupid thing to say for someone who is wealthy, and it's because his needs are met. But also, he doesn't realize that you do politics, right? Politics is very much as a musician, very much a big part of how you got to where you are, right? There was laws where black people could not perform in certain clubs. There's music contracts that black people could not attain. There was leadership in record companies that black people were barred from, and politics had to come in and actually break the way in for black and brown people. And also when his cousin got killed by the police or something like that, he was all for the system of policing, which again, I don't call it policing. I call it law enforcement, which means someone had to pass a law, and your high school, dropout friend from high school became that enforcement of that law and killed him. So as you say that you don't do politics, but then you choose to, and then you made one of the biggest anthems for the summer 2020, "We Gonna Be All Right," during the summer of 20. It's like, shut up, Pharrell. I truly do believe that, like, at a certain point of wealth, fame, and grandiose, you are so disconnected from your people. It is embarrassing. It's very fucking embarrassing on that point. Now,
it's class. What was it called?
Solidarity.
Yeah, like it loses that
class consciousness.
But even him talking about DEI is political. Like, that's a political.
Yeah.
So like, you got like, so, but like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but his whole spiel on, like, I don't do it. It's like, bro, you do it. You literally do it. And the fact that you are someone, all the way that you move your money, the way that you invest, all of that is politics, to keep your taxes low, or to make sure that it's getting reinvested for you to be able to invest back into your own businesses. All of that is politics, but we are not taught that. And this is someone himself. And again, I do not believe that, like, college and degrees makes you a smart person. Not at all. But there's, like, bro, you graduate. I don't think you graduated from high school, like, which is fine. Clearly, because I mean, in this capitalistic system, you made it to the top above me and Rom, as that relates, right? You got more money. People know Pharrell the same way they know Cher and Bono by a singular name. They don't know Peyron and Rom, like that. So, like, that level of just callousness towards people who are currently under a system that are trying to fight for their lives, to me, was just rude and divisive. And then for him to say that, like, you can't pick a side, like, okay, I mean, one side wants you dead, nigga. Like, one side doesn't want you alive. And you up here talking about I can't pick a side because he has rich friends. He's on golf courses. He's flying to Monaco and to Madrid and all this. Like, but the average black person from Virginia Beach, where he's from, can't do that. The Pharrell who made grinding clips and all that shit, like, that is not the same person who we just heard talk. And unfortunately, I think we talked about on the show that, like, the $50 million threshold, he's well above that. Now, to his second point about DEI and how it doesn't matter, or how, like, these things are going out of the way. You sound like a Republican. For someone who doesn't pick a side, you certainly sound like a Republican. Now, the reason why I say that is because this is a very much a Republican or conservative standpoint, because what conservatives love to do is start history from the moment they start talking. So we're talking about January 6th, and now it's January 10th. The Republicans were saying, I want to move forward. Let's not talk about that. We want to talk about how they're trying to take our history books out of schools, or how to take our history out of museums. And was Trump's attorney, was it Hannigan, the lady who isn't really that dumbass.
What kind of lawyer is she?
She's an insurance lawyer. She's an insurance lawyer. But before she was doing what she's doing now, because what's she doing now? Now she's doing the
She runs the one of the divisions. She's like the Southeast.
Yes, that's right.
Like,
right.
One of the departments of the Departments of Justice.
Right. Before she was doing that, in the administration, she was in charge of going to all the Smithsonian museums. And what she was saying was that the history doesn't make America look good. Museums need to be more forward-looking. Now, Ron, museums are literally about the past. This history doesn't. Why can't museums be about the future? Why can't museums be about the? It don't make no goddamn sense. So this is the shit. So he's taking that perspective that, like, I want to be the best because I'm black. It's like, dude, it's conservative because you believe that history starts right now, and you believe that bigotry and racism is gone because you're successful. This is the problem with, like, the kind of talented Kanye, right? Kind of I'm right, like, you have it. And then when they say that, like, I made it, which they forget, it is a stroke of lightning to get that. So you're saying I need to have some sort of otherworldly musical skill where I can see sounds and I can put things in. We all need to do that as 40 million black people. We all need to do that. And then, and the last thing I'll say is, when you talk about how, diversity, that goes away, that's cool. isn't he wasn't he like, or Virgil was the first, Louis Vuitton guy, but like you're one of the faces of Louis Vuitton. It is because you're black. So it's like it's that level of ignorance when you have that much wealth that you don't care. That, like, I believe that he got all the smoke that he rightfully deserves.
Yeah. If I don't know what happens. Like when you're like, what's wrong with these people? They turn into pedophiles. They forget where they're from. Like, it's crazy. Damn. It is like,
is that what happens? Is that right?
It's what it seems like. They all protected. They all protected. It's a whole. Talk about Hollywood, weird. Like, all this stuff. Like, I'm just like, what does actually happen when you get rich? Like, you sell out? Because
speaking of,
I just
this comment. Put this comment as you're talking, because it's basically what you're saying from Jeff Larson 6513.
Trump most likely desires the same type of relationship with Mamdani as he shared with Clinton. Yeah. At
a certain point, it's like we sucking everybody's dick around here, which is fine. It's fine if it's consensual. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, that's pretty much it I got on that one. So
Pharrell, do better. And does this mean Pharrell's canceled? No, but this just shows to our point. And the other celebrity we didn't get to, we're probably gonna get to today, but I just want to throw it out there. Nicki Minaj going to the UN and talking in some broom closet. It's some broom closet about the Nigerians killing Christians. Girl,
it's just like these people, like they get like these people, a lot of these people are narcissists to begin with, but like somebody gets in their ear and they're just say
this, Nikki, say it.
And they're like, oh, here's what's going on, and it's like, oh, okay, that sounds terrible. There's a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Like, I'm gonna speak out on it. And then you kind of have to like look into these details and who's feeding you this propaganda or whoever. Like, it's crazy to me, but
crazy.
Yeah. So,
but she had a tweet today that was like, it's some sort of rhyme. It was like, I got Trump on the text. UN was this. See what I'm gonna do next.
Yeah, well, hold on. Let's
now, Nikki's always
little intermission here.
Donald sucking Bubba's dick, slurping nut like his mother, going guap, guap, guap on his Arkansas brother, playing that shit like a saxophone. Presidential topic while they all alone. Don't give a fuck about Hillary. Donald Trump blow it up like a War 3.
Hey. But she's always been kind of MAGA coded. I mean, if you guys remember from like,
it's been clear to me. You can always tell when they're about to turn.
Oh, no, this is when I was in college. I remember she had a mixtape. I think maybe in between one of her Pink Fridays, but she had a line that says that like, I'm voting for Mitt Romney because you dusty bitches is fucking up the economy. So that's 13 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was really never a Nicki Minaj fan.
She can spit. I'm not taking anything away from her skills. She can spit.
I was never really that big. I mean, like I was at one point like, okay, cool, but. Look,
her personality, I think it outreached her skills. It's like, lady, okay, like you're good, but like all this other shit, it's like it's too much. It's like you need to go sit down somewhere. You need to go sit your ass down somewhere. And then she started like marrying pedophiles, and her brothers are pedophiles.
She's her brothers. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Like, what is going? Like, what happened?
Hey, yeah, that's your point. To your point, damn. I'm now proving Ron's point more. Yes. You're right. At a certain point, you just got to marry pedophiles, I guess.
And then they're protectors, and
now she's taking Trump's order, who's also a pedophile.
Yeah. So, anyways,
what's the last thing? What's the last thing we got? Last thing.
Twitter.
Oh, X. Don't dead name it. Let's call it by its name. But also, they can't bend reality. You do Twitter.com. It goes right there. So prominent MAGA accounts exposed as foreign run as X reveals countries of origin feature. Now, I was talking with my wife about this earlier today. She said, so do you think that they chose to do this to like get this out, or do you think they were incompetent? And I'm like, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, but you're the tech guy. So what do you think about this? Because you're all about security. I mean, this is putting people's information out there, technical or like where things could be spawned.
Oh, I think he's incompetence. To be honest,
Okay,
with
all right.
Like I don't think
I'll call him B.
when has Elon in his decisions and Twitter and like, I mean, they were incompetent with all their decisions ever since they took over X, and so yeah, I don't think it was on purpose. So that is a good question. But it exposed DHS, right? So the DHS.gov or DHS.gov was showing, I don't know if it's in this article here, but DHS was showing that they were in Israel.
Not Israel.
So there was just so many accounts that were based out of other countries that are these MAGA accounts.
Yeah, like it's like news Ivanka Trump or like
which we knew. I mean,
right,
we knew the Russian bots, and I think just especially these ones like, I mean, look at it, like just the MAGA Nation and Dark MAGA. It's like these aren't even real people to begin with. You got what Cat Turd. I wouldn't even be surprised if Cat Turd was a.
But the problem is that like people like an Elon Musk would engage with these things like they were real people, like and I think this is the problem, like you getting too high on your own supply. It's like you're now getting drunk on your own piss. And you're like, oh my God, it is so good. But you don't realize you're not getting drunk. You're actually just getting sick off your own waste over and over and over again. And it's like, but this is why I think a lot of us on the left don't really engage with these bots or these people. Because one, they're always trying to win. And when we're talking about politics, it's not about like winning an argument. I'm just saying like, hey, today is Sunday, and they'll be like, today's actually Saturday, Elder Saturday. And it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to win, bro.
Yeah, that's where we're headed. And I think in regards to like AI, in regards to this like data, like it's a very similar thing, like this data regurgitating, and it's very circular. When we think about X and social media platforms, you don't really think about, the integrity of data, but when you call yourselves, and in many cases, people will consider X as like their source of news, and how people get news. And once you start to infiltrate that, poison that well of data, or as some people would say, news and opinion, and if you're able to use and weaponize social media to change an entire narrative, to push propaganda, to actually change people's minds, and like in a way, mass programming. I mean, I know it sounds very conspiratorial.
No,
but the fact is, it's like the reason why they do these things is because it works. They can actually target very specific profiles of people, actual humans and Americans in this case, with certain messages, a barrage of certain accounts, a barrage of certain messages, and manipulate these people into thinking that that Nigeria has that it's
genocide.
Genocide is only Christians being killed, right? Or whatever narrative they want to shape. Or if they want you to see one thing and not another, like they have this power to do so. I mean, Cambridge Analytica in 2016 was able to take all the data of Facebook and basically create profiles of every single person on Facebook. And then they were able to target them with various ads, various accounts. They were able to manipulate their opinion based off what they showed them to, low information voters, if you will, show them fake news accounts, show them things that they're more susceptible to believe. Meanwhile, the people who are more educated, you'll never even see those things in your sphere. So like the idea that, and this is very similar to what's happening with AI, right? And what can happen with AI is like all this information, and then it starts training from itself, and it becomes more and more like diminishing returns of like what we're actually seeing and what's original and what's not. It's a very real danger. And for as long as in the case of AI, with no regulation, they're threatening to sue states that are actually trying to regulate AI. Like, and if there's just the wheels are off, there's no guardrails, like that's what we're going to ultimately run into.
Yeah, I mean, we're already. I mean, I know that's your bellywick, but I mean, it is a bubble. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like they still can't find out how to monetize this shit. And that's a problem. They're saying that 80% of the stock market is propped up by AI.
Oh,
and AI investments. I mean, so this thing it's basically it's a billionaire's boondoggle. It's like, I mean, I guess for someone like yourself who's starting a company, hey, take that money, take that money from these guys. You know, like if you get some billionaires to cut you some checks. But at the end of the day, it's like, I need to do something. My money needs to be making more money right now. And okay, I can't buy another company. Oh, how about AI? They're like, okay, let's just go put billions of dollars into that, and let's get government subsidies and get money from these other corporations and other places. And that's where it's at. And it's eventually, I mean, unless it's going to find a way to make more billions of dollars, I think we're going to have another crisis. But what we can't do is allow the rhetoric. I mean, you can take this on screen, but what we can do is allow the rhetoric to go back into this. It's too big to fail. Because we've already got Sam Altman out there talking about, well, if AI goes down, the government needs to step in. I'm not saying it needs to. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. We've seen this. Was it a few years ago with Synchrony Bank out of California about how these speculative markets and trying to invest in these things, then that bubble pops from those things, and it leaves the regular people out with our tax dollars subsidizing someone's parachute out. So we can't allow that language to be normalized. We can't allow, when the AI bubble pops, we got to give Altman and Musk and Bezos is buying a big one. We got to give them their money because they can't be out X amount of billions of dollars. Yes, you can. Y'all are already super rich.
Yeah. It was actually Igor Yablokov, who he was one of the creators of Alexa. He was at a conference and he talked a lot about Silicon Valley and how they basically they've been hyping up AI so much that they've been pushing artificial general intelligence, right? Where this is the next stage. In order to do this, we have to have all these data centers, we have to have all this computing power, and it's like this thing, and it's like, yes, there's a bubble that's on the horizon. I mean, absolutely, especially even these data centers, and as technology changes, what's currently would be like a video card is helping power a lot of the AI processing. There's new technology coming out that will require less and less data centers. So we're going to be stuck with ultimately in 10 years, we're going to be stuck with all these huge data centers all over the place.
And who's popped up to make money off it right now? Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick, he's the Secretary of Commerce, whatever. His nickname is Howard Nutlick. But he divested from his company since he's in the administration now. But who does he have it? His Uday and Qusay Hussein's sons basically taking it over. And they said this year, as they are investing in AI data centers, has been the most profitable and the best year for them in forever. So we are seeing this kleptocracy. We are seeing this oligarchy surrounded with this crony capitalism. This is what it looks like. They're lining their pockets. And to Ram's point, we're going to set up all these shits across the country, poisoning air, water, and locations for specifically Black and brown people. And then when that shit bursts and there's just a giant building there, that, to Ram's point, that they don't need, the same way China and these other places can have these facilities or have the technology be met, then we're going to be sitting holding the bag while they invested all this money, and it's all just a wash. It's all a laundering scheme.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect storm on the horizon that threatens the middle class, the working class.
Mm-hmm.
It's between the government terrorizing, targeting poor folks, middle class, with tariffs and all of these things that
layoffs,
pulling away programs, safety nets, get layoffs, pulling away professional degrees for education, nursing, and
take away healthcare.
Crazy, right? And so that's on one aspect of it. Then you have this AI prop, this Wall Street, Wall Street's doing well, so everybody else, your 401k is doing great, so the economy must be doing great. Well, the economy, first off, the stock market kind of has 4-year cycles of going kind of up and down, and generally goes up
But it's juiced right now. It's
if
juiced.
you can, yeah, if you can, yeah, it's riding a long wave. And look, I'm not no stock expert, but I've definitely, been learning my stuff over the past 3 or 4 years. And yeah, I mean, it's, Nvidia had, they beat their earnings last week, and they went up for like a quick minute and they came right back down.
Yes.
The whole market's kind of down right now. It's like if you made if I was look if I made money off of all these stocks over the past few years, I would kind of start trimming a little bit off the top. Be happy, take my ball, and just play it safe. Get some bonds. Stay with a little bit less risky investment. Look, some people will ride it because they can, but look, those 401ks, hold on to those for dear life. If you're over the age of 60, 70, and you have 401ks you're relying on, I'd be a little bit nervous right now. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair assessment, man. And I think as folks are seeing that, I mean, they're playing with our lives. This is what during the industrial age the industrialists did, but it wasn't tech. It was oil. It was steel. It was the Carnegies and the Rockefellers, and they bought Congress, hook, line, and sinker. Same thing, right? It just wasn't this. But I think we don't learn that history and how we had to have, we didn't have to have the Great Depression, right? But they bailed out these wealthy people, very similar, right? And it's like we have to understand that we're in a moment of being robbed. And some people, when I tell these racist people out there, like, you are working for the 1%, they're like, no, I'm against the 1%. It's like, no, the 1% needs you to hate me because of the color of my skin, so you don't realize they're robbing you. And if me and you came together and fought back against these people, we wouldn't be getting robbed no more. Your grandma needs a leg. Your daddy got sick. There's a perfect tweet that I saw. It said, welcome to America, where the people with 6 teeth defend the people with 8 yachts. Oh, so true.
Yeah,
so true.
It's and even the 401ks. I mean, all of it is like, it was created it's a pyramid. It's kind of a pyramid scheme at the end of the day. Most things are, in some ways a pyramid scheme, and they do. I think they have.
We've been getting slowly bled out for decades.
Yeah, and we're in the entire stock market's held up by these 7 tech companies, this AI.
Oh my God, yeah.
So it's playing with fire, just the same way that when people they get greedy too, just like they got greedy with mortgages, right?
There you go.
The whole housing crisis.
There you go. What was it? Have you seen that movie, The Big Short?
Oh yeah, so the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. The second time I saw it was after I started learning all this shit, and I was like,
you're like, oh shit!
Now I understand.
The line from that movie where the reporter's talking to him, he's like, why are these guys confessing? And the other guy's like, they're not confessing, they're bragging. That's the hubris of what we're dealing with. Right? This is why we're seeing Trump do all this shit out in the open. This is why we're killing people in Venezuela. It's
got crypto coins.
Yeah. It's all the financial schemes. It's like they're not confessing, they're bragging. But as we know, all throughout, one thing is sure, that dark day and cold night and sad moment is coming for all of us, is that everything crumbles. Nothing stays forever. Now, the only radioactive cockroach that I think exists is Donald Trump. Somehow he's been able to kind of roll through, getting an inheritance from his father, blowing $400 million, losing, bankruptcy, 6 bankruptcies, somehow losing a casino when the House always wins, insurrection, getting reelected president. I don't know. Somehow this nigga did some shit with a monkey paw. I don't know.
Yeah.
But.
So he did it with only $1 billion. He's always been for most of his life he's been teetering between a millionaire and a billionaire. He's never really been.
But we don't even know that.
Some of his counterparts. But yeah, well, now they say he's worth about 40. Most of his entire riches is pretty much from this last 1 year.
It is, yes.
In terms of his biggest growth has been in this 1 year alone,
which is speculative still. It's
but in order for him to have to accomplish this, he has gotten in bed with the worst of the worst. Correct. Russians, pedophiles, the Epstein claim.
So MBS, they were talking about the Muslims, right? In the Oval Office. He had MBS up in there.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, the killed with
Jamal Khashoggi,
Jamal,
which is so funny to me because the right wing was going crazy. Mamdani's a jihadist. But then you got MBS in there.
The day before,
we love him. We love this one. It's like, so which one is it? What is it? You hate it because he's a jihadist and he's going to have Sharia law. But then we got the Riyadh Comedy Fair. We got Saudis buying Live Golf Tournament and all this shit. It's like, that's the thing about racism, man. It's illogical and stupid.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is follow the money for everything we talked about today.
That's right.
The DHS, the CBP, they're putting they're building detention centers.
Who's making money off that?
Making money. They're creating free labor. They're creating.
Come on, Ron. Bring it home.
All of and then what did we talk? We talked about Mamdani. How to disconnect that.
Well, he's trying.
He's got to. Mamdani's got to make sure that he gets New York.
He delivers money. He has to.
Right, and so and then Pharrell, he kind of. I think these people they get money and it gets to them. So
their nose
don't let me sell out. Should I get a hot million?
All right. Last question. All right, let's finish with this. Let's finish with something funny. What would it take you to sell out? And when I say sell out, like you'll take that hat off. It's gonna say the real MAGA hat. Like how much money?
I wouldn't sell out. I wouldn't sell out. I would actually. I would give up the money I have and the clothes off my back for a lot of things.
All right. Okay. All right.
But there's one day there might be this question of like it's going to be like, well, Ron, you could be a philanthropist and help people. Stop. You could give if you just sell your soul, then you have $1 billion to help people, right? That's going to be the
$10 billion. $10 billion.
Here's the thing. Like, what am I going to do with
$1 billion? What you gonna do, bro?
I can't do. I'm gonna be a philanthropist. That's my goal.
We got 10 billion of ice cold cash is sitting in a truck. You can look at it. You can touch it. You can put it in the Cayman Islands. You can put it in the Swiss banks. We can invest, but it's yours. All you got to do is say, I was wrong for not supporting Donald Trump. I love this man. Everything he stands for. I love the ICE raids. 10 billion. 10 billion. What you gonna do?
Well, so then can I say it and then be like, or can I be like, or can I go and create another army to fight? You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding, but like
10 billion. What you gonna do? That's the question.
I mean, yeah, I'll say something but I don't mean I'll stand on it. But it's like, dude, what do I gotta do?
Fucking Trump. Yeah, I guess he's all right. He cool. He cool, whatever. He cool.
Yeah.
Me, I don't know, man. I think at that point, if someone's trying to offer me $10 billion, I'm like, well, clearly if you give me 10 billion, you got 100 billion back there. Because if you got 10 billion to give me and you think I'm worth 10 billion, you're shortchanging me. I know that much about capitalism. You're shortchanging me. So you gotta have to make that 100 billion. Now, $100 billion, I would absolutely go out there and be like, Donald Trump is the best thing that has ever existed, blah, blah, blah. And then once I got that money, I would still be talking, he's the best. But what I would be doing with the money would be investing it into black this, black that. It's going to be, trying to end systemic poverty. I'm paying everyone's as much people's student debt off as I can. I would try that. I'm like, you know what? In this fucked up ass society, if they gave me 100 billion, 100 again, you ain't never going broke again. NBA young boy.
I would love to just start handing out millions for people, entrepreneurs, to be honest. Like if I had that, like, because
all that
Trump's
shit.
Like, I only had a loan of $1 million. You know what?
We'll call that. Ron. We'll call that the Trump loan. It's called the only $1 million loan, and it's for everybody that has it. It's called the only $1 million because he says it's so little. So everybody's gonna get only $1 million that they'll walk it to me. So that's what I would do, folks. Thanks for tuning in to the Radical Roots podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe this show. That's how we grow organically. It's always fun. We've had some good folks in the comments today engaging with us, and we hope that grows to an even bigger audience because we can't do anything without you guys. And this is why we do it, because it's not only the news we're talking about, but we're getting to from a perspective, from a black and brown perspective that is so necessary, that is not whitewashed, that is not corporate controlled, and that is from an honest, passionate perspective. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter.
And I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval.
And we will see you next time.
Peace.
I'm going for the song.
Yep.
Got his big old belly sick from the come up Clinton, pun.
Back that dump truck on two. Back that dump truck on the two. Billy's little face. You're my apprentice now. I'ma put you in your place.
Yo.
Turkey throat, goblin.